So in this video, I'm going to show you how you turn a video looking like this into a video looking more like this with 3 simple tips. Stay tuned. So when it comes to making videos on the internet, people often think you need super expensive camera equipment, super expensive this, and all these tech and gadgets. But here are 3 super simple tips that you can make your videos instantly better. And number 1 is composition and angle of your video. In other words, it's all about framing. It's all about how you set up the shot. And you also want to consider things like headspace. In other words, the space from the top of my head to the top of the frame. If there's too much headspace, it might feel like, oh, the camera's pointed way too high. And if there's too little headspace, you're just gonna cut off the top of your subject's head, which feels like the camera needs to be pointed up a little higher or lower depending on your subject. And when it comes to headspace, there is really preference. There isn't a one rule that sets all, but for me, I like to have 2 or 3 inches from the frame. I like to be centered specifically for talking head videos, and I like to have roughly around a hand's length for the sides of the camera, and I like to be dead in the middle, especially for talking head videos like these. And as you can already see, the composition of this vlog or video right now is a lot better than how I started. So tip number 1, play around with angles and composition, because that can make a completely different video, the tone of the video, the vibe of the video, and overall the environment, your backdrop. Play around with different angles. I could play with the angle with the camera more up here, down here, and there's so many ways that you can play around with a composition. And guess what? It's free. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on a camera. All you really need to do is play around with the position of where you're gonna put your camera, and that's a good place to start. Tip number 2 when it comes to making any one of your videos instantly better is lighting. Lighting is so important. As you can see here, I purposely exaggerate the lighting in this room, and right now my only light source is a light on the ceiling, which is directly acting as like a hair light and more of a background light, or what you would call a backlight. And there isn't any key light. In other words, having a light source that's right in front of my face, because lighting not only makes your video look better, it can also make your camera look a lot better than it actually is. Such as being able to have my Nikon have ISO at 100 and having the most clearest quality video image without having to spend thousands of dollars. And what I did is I just put this aperture M9, turned it on, and put that on top of my shoe mount for my Nikon camera. And as you can see here, if I adjust the lighting and then bump up the ISO just a little bit, you can see now that the lighting is much more natural looking versus having no lighting and not being able to have a properly lit talent, client, or whoever it is on camera. As you can see, the power of lighting is so powerful. It makes a lot. Like, you can see the difference between having no lighting and me having to bump up the ISO versus me having a native ISO, turning on my lighting, and now, although it's not the best key light, you can tell that now I'm properly lit, and you actually can see things like my facial expression, and you're able to differentiate me from the foreground and the background. So in other words, how you make a bad video instantly better is consider lighting. Where's your light placed? Do you have any light? Are you relying on artificial light like the ceiling light that I have, and you aren't properly exposed and lit? Well, consider getting or investing in yourself some lights. And to add onto that and make it more into depth and detail is that where you also position the light affects how you will look on camera. For example, having a key light right above the camera you can tell that yes, I'm properly exposed, the lighting is okay, there's no really harsh shadows on my face. But what can dramatically change the effect of how lighting affects the visuals is that if I put the light underneath my chin, it creates harsh shadows on my eyes, and it's more along the lines of that scary storytelling type of look, as well as having a light source here, which creates more of a fill light. So I would have another light source here, or you could go for different moods of different types of light. And right now, this is what I like to call, or the notorious in Hollywood movies, is the Rembrandt lighting. In other words, there's a triangle here, and you will see this type of lighting in a lot of Hollywood first $1 million movies, and this is the sort of type of look that they go for. So lighting can definitely change the mood. It can definitely change how the audience feels when they watch the video, and this is pretty important, I would say. Some people would even argue with me that you wouldn't want to invest money in lighting instead of a camera body. And my very last and final tip of how you make your videos instantly better is sound. For example, right now I'm using the Rode Link Lav mic to ensure that there's crystal clear sound so you can hear exactly what I'm saying. Because on top of having good lighting and good visuals, having good audio is almost, I would say, one of the most important things. If you have a video that has narrative or storytelling or any type of narrative, you would want to hear good sound. For example, if you have a video that has really, really bad visuals, but you're able to, and bad lighting, but you're able to hear the person properly, you're able to hear their story, then you can still bear with a decent video, even though the quality isn't the highest. And I guess my bonus tip and my over higher tier tip on how you make your videos instantly better from okay to wow is that people often forget the most important part. Even though this is a bonus tip, I think this is the most important tip that you better know when it comes to making your videos instantly better. And that is through storytelling, and that is through camera presence. It doesn't matter if you have the best visuals, the best composition, the best audio, the best lighting, but if you as a person that has like video aspirations, but all you're concerned about is just having like 4K visuals and all that stuff, it's cool. But if there's no story to the video, or you don't have a certain camera presence and the way that you talk, the way that you want to portray your story to your audience, then you need to reconsider what are your priorities. Because when it comes to being a filmmaker, an aspiring filmmaker, an aspiring content creator, or even a YouTuber, you need to have a story. Whether that's you explaining to your audience whatever it is that you're trying to do, or whether it's you telling some emotional story to share your own story to other people's perspective, you need to have an on-camera presence or tell some kind of story. It doesn't have to be you in front of the camera, but story is king. Content is king. Being in front of the camera and having that certain confidence and being able to tell the story that you want to tell through your narrative and your eyes, that is a skill that I still want and need and constantly try to master. And my name is Peter, and that is how you make your videos instantly better. You put in the reps, you get practice, and you really just love the process of getting better and better and how you master your craft. Although you will never be the 100% expert or the expertise at whatever, as long as you're going towards that path, that's all that really matters. My name is Peter. You're watching Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something.